Most people never realize they are being quietly disrespected. It doesn't happen in a single dramatic moment. It happens gradually, through hundreds of small, almost invisible details that you barely register, until one day you suddenly notice that your messages are only answered when it's convenient, plans are canceled without explanation, and people only reach out when they need something from you. This is the reality of the modern world. Everyone talks about kindness, empathy, and positive energy, yet beneath that polished surface, things operate according to an entirely different set of rules. Loud people receive attention. Those who perform confidence are admired on social media. Meanwhile, the ones who are genuinely kind, reliable, and always willing to help are often treated as if they are guaranteed and slowly, quietly exploited. But there is another type of person, and they move through the world in a completely different way. For them, no truly means no. Their time is not something anyone can take freely, and their silence carries a certain weight that makes others pause and think carefully before acting. They don't need to be loud to be heard. They don't need long explanations to be understood. They simply have clear boundaries, and more importantly, they know how to maintain them. The truth is, people respect what can walk away, and they respect what has options. The moment someone senses that you need them more than they need you, the dynamic shifts permanently. From that point on, you become the one who adjusts, who chases, who apologizes, who explains. And once you're placed in that position, respect steadily erodes. In this video, I'll share 4 principles that help you become someone others think twice before treating casually or carelessly. When these principles are applied correctly, people may not be able to explain exactly what has changed about you, but they will recognize one thing very clearly. There are limits with you now, and those limits are precisely what create respect. Let's begin.
Trick 1. Control your availability. Stop being always available. Before we begin, type this in the comments. I'm no longer easy. Respect begins to slowly die the moment people feel they can access you whenever they want. When you are always available, always flexible, always adjusting yourself around others, you stop being perceived as a strong individual and instead become background support, always present but never truly important. Think of it this way. A king is not always available when summoned, but a servant must be. At some point, you have to stop living like a servant in your own life. When someone realizes that you will always accommodate them, they learn one dangerous lesson. You need them more than they need you. Once that belief takes hold, respect begins to dissolve. They may remain polite, they may continue smiling, but internally they no longer fear losing you, and without that fear, respect cannot survive. Controlling your availability is not rude, it is deliberate. You don't jump into every situation simply because someone calls your name. You don't accept every invitation. You don't rearrange your priorities every time someone else has a problem. You move according to your own plan, and others must align themselves with it. When you do this, your presence starts to carry more weight. People notice that you are not everywhere, not easily pulled in every direction. They begin to hesitate and ask themselves, is this really worth interrupting them? And it is precisely in that hesitation that respect is born. You don't need to announce your boundaries out loud. You simply respond more slowly, commit less often, and choose more carefully. You train people through your actions, not through explanations. Over time, they come to understand this clearly. You are not a tool they can use whenever it suits them, but a presence that must be requested and can be refused.
Trick 2. Use silence as a weapon. Most people are afraid of silence. They rush to fill every empty space with words, explanations, jokes, nervous laughter, or unnecessary commentary. They believe that talking more makes them more likable, more persuasive, more secure. In reality, the opposite is true. Talking too much makes you predictable, easy to read, and easy to control. Silence is not weakness. Silence is a test. When you remain silent, you create space for others to reveal themselves. They begin to over-explain, justify their behavior, confess more than they intended, and expose what they truly think. Their insecurities surface, their real motivations slip out, and their need for approval becomes visible. All you do is speak less, yet suddenly you know far more about them than they know about you. That imbalance is pure leverage. When people are unsure of what you're thinking, they become cautious. They hesitate before provoking you. They try to guess your position instead of attacking it directly. That uncertainty becomes an invisible shield around you. Using silence means you don't rush to respond the moment someone finishes speaking. You pause, you think, you allow their words to hang in the air. That brief delay makes your presence feel heavier than any continuous conversation ever could. When someone challenges you, silence can be sharper than immediate defense. Instead of arguing, you observe, you breathe, you wait. That pause forces them to feel the weight of what they just said. Often they will soften it themselves, rephrase it, or retreat entirely. They feel pressure because you don't give them an easy escape through quick reactions. You hold the space. That is dominance without volume. Silence also protects your dignity. When you're angry, insulted, or provoked, speaking too quickly almost always leads to regret. But when you train yourself to remain silent in those moments, you keep your position. You demonstrate that emotions do not drag you around. The less you react, the more people sense depths within you that they cannot easily reach. That mystery slowly transforms into respect.
Trick 3. Create invisible boundaries. Respect is not created by kindness. It is created by boundaries. Most people never form these boundaries. They allow jokes to go too far, criticisms to cross the line, and behaviors that slowly erode their dignity. They laugh along, pretend it doesn't hurt, and later wonder why no one takes their feelings seriously. When there are no boundaries, there is no risk in disrespecting you. And when there is no risk, respect cannot exist. Every person with real strength carries an unspoken boundary around them. Others may feel comfortable talking, interacting, even joking, but there is always a certain line they do not cross. They sense that crossing it would change everything. That awareness is not built through speeches or confrontations. It is built through reactions, cold, controlled, and consistent reactions. You decide what is unacceptable to you: mockery, passive disrespect, public humiliation, certain tones of voice, certain jokes. Once that line is clear in your mind, you no longer ignore it when it appears. You don't laugh it off. You don't argue through emotional explanations. When someone crosses that boundary, even slightly, you respond with calm withdrawal. Your expression changes, your energy tightens, your words become brief, controlled, and direct. You may say very little, but the atmosphere shifts immediately. You disengage, not later, not tomorrow, but in that moment. Your boundaries must be silent but firm. You don't become dramatic, you simply adjust your level of openness. You decide who receives warmth and who only gets the surface. Over time, people around you begin to feel it. You are not someone they can casually disrespect. They may treat others harshly, but with you, they recalibrate. That tension, that restraint is exactly what you want.
Trick 4. Reveal less, observe more. Information is a form of power, and in every relationship, the person who knows more holds the advantage.
The problem is that most people unconsciously give that power away by talking too much about themselves. They share their thoughts, plans, fears, insecurities, desires, and failures, not because others truly need to know, but because they want to be understood, empathized with, accepted. But the world does not operate on empathy. It operates on advantage. Every time you reveal too much, you draw a detailed map of your own weaknesses for others. Not everyone will use it against you immediately, but they remember it. And when the balance of power shifts, when interests collide, that information becomes a weapon. You don't need to be betrayed to realize this. Being quietly disrespected is enough. Those who are respected without noise always keep a part of themselves hidden. They respond clearly and sufficiently without embellishment. They don't rush to reveal their true thoughts or prove how intelligent or deep they are. While others speak, they observe. They watch reactions, shifts in tone, how people talk about those who aren't present, how they handle power when given the chance. In that silence, they collect data. When you know more than you reveal, you become unpredictable. And when you are unpredictable, people hesitate to attack you recklessly. They don't know how you'll respond, what you're thinking, or what you've already noticed. That uncertainty creates distance, and distance creates respect. You don't need to become secretive to the point of coldness. You simply stop telling your entire story to people who haven't proven they deserve to hear it. Fewer words, more observation, less exposure, more control. Power always favors the one who knows how to keep their own secrets.
The truth is that not everyone will like the version of you that emerges after applying these principles. Some people will feel more distant. Some will find you harder to approach. Others will feel quietly uncomfortable because they can no longer control you as easily as before. But this is not a loss. It is a filtration. When you stop being easy, you stop attracting those who only come for convenience, and you begin attracting those who understand the value of boundaries. Silent respect does not come from trying to please everyone. It comes from how you move, how you respond, and how you keep a part of yourself that no one is entitled to touch. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to explain who you are. When you control your time, your words, your emotions, and your actions, others automatically adjust how they treat you. Remember this: people do not respect what is always available, always explaining, always reacting. They respect what has limits, depth, and the ability to walk away. When you become that person, respect does not need to be demanded. It appears on its own. If this video reflects something you're currently experiencing, leave a comment saying, "I choose respect." And if you want to build deeper inner strength, a presence that makes others cautious without you ever needing to perform, press like so this message reaches the right people, and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next, where we continue exploring silent power, human psychology, and how to stand firm in a world that isn't gentle. See you in our next videos.